The word temple became popular much later. In Sankhya, the philosophy of yoga, the word that is used for consciousness is Purusha, meaning that which resides in the Pura or boundary. Consciousness resides in Pura. In Bali, Indonesia, temples are still called Pura. Before the construction of these Pura, simple pavilions were made for dhyana, meditation. And even before these, there were Yajna Mandapas, pavilions of fire altars. A Yajna Vedi is made within the premises of temples even today.
These all come from Vedic altars. In Vedic tradition, you have different types of altars were built. So depending upon to which deity that altar is used, the shape varies. And it is from those altars which were done according to mathematical calculation of the Vedic age. The temples also were laid out according to square, rectangle, and so on. So they are derived directly from the Vedic altars.
These pavilions were made from perishable things like wood and bamboo.
So to understand Veda, you need 6 limbs. Similarly, to understand a temple, a Hindu temple, you have 6 basic angas, basic parts in the vertical level. One is called Adhisthana, the base. The second is called Bitti, wall. The third is cornice, kapota. Then griva is neck. And then the head is sikhara. And then stupi. Stupi is the topmost part. Then each anga is further subdivided into, for example, the Adhisthana is divided into Kura, Jagati, Kumuda, and Pattika, and so on. There are articulated moldings. They give you architectural beauty. And this beautiful construction is connected with the constellations, the nature.
Several treatises were available on town planning and temple architecture, based on design and mathematical calculations. They say that the first step in building a temple is the selection of land. When selecting the site, they were not only careful about ventilation and light, etc., the landscape itself was very thoughtfully decided. The importance of higher and lower plains, the size and shape of land, the forest and vegetation, the rivers and lakes around, all find a place in these texts. These texts describe how the abode of the gods should be. What is the reason that on the skyline of Varanasi, this mosque is visible and not the adjacent Kashi Vishwanath temple? It is because the mosque is standing right at the sacred spot of the landscape, which makes it look prominent. The architects of the sacred temple had once chosen that point.
So, the Vastu texts prescribe how to select a beautiful site for building a temple.
The selection of the site of a temple cannot be based only on physical factors. There is much more than that. Once Adi Shankar was passing by this place. He was wonderstruck on seeing a scene. A pregnant female frog was in labor pains, suffering under the hot sun. A nearby snake was protecting her with his hood. The Acharya immediately decided to build a temple there. At the site of a temple, the life-giving energy should always be greater than the life-destroying energy. It is through temples that the life-giving energy flows into society. These sacred places were either destroyed or seized, and with this, the life-giving Vastu structure of India was severely damaged.
the whole cosmos into it, level the ground, and draw a sort of grid on it. Generally, according to Indian tradition, 8 into 8 64 squares, or 9 into 9 81 squares. And in the center of it, we invoke the presence of God in the sanctum. Around it, we distribute all the nature's power symbolically. There need not be any figure, but the space itself is invoked as the cosmic powers. For example, the square, which is divided into 8 into 8 64 or 9 into 9 81, will have a central 9 into 9. 9 squares will be there in the center. That is what we call the Garbhagraha, where the sanctum tower is erected. Surrounding it, we have several squares, and these are divided into 12 squares. These 12 squares represent the 12 months of the year, which we call the Surya, the movement of Surya, the sun, through the 12 months. And these small squares at the outer, they are considered the nakshatras, the stars, which are localized. And then you have also got the constellations, grahas. So, nakshatra, graha, tara, mandala.
Brahma created the cosmos. Brahma dwells within this cosmos. In Sanskrit, dwelling means vas. Therefore, the cosmos is the dwelling, the vastu of Brahma. Brahma is infinite and directionless. Formless Brahma is infinite and directionless. On seeing this with divine eyes, a warrior like Arjun was filled with fear. He calmed down only after seeing the four-armed form of Vishnu. The four-armed form of the formless is this. One gets a sense of direction from this form, and the mind is at peace. The square is a geometric form. Yantras are made from squares, triangles, and circles. Yantras are forms that can become vehicles for spiritual power. There are many yantras. The Buddhist Temple of Borobudur is a Sri Yantra built on multiple triangular shapes. Therefore, the square is the fundamental dwelling place of Brahma, called the Vastu Purush Mandal. Generally, dwelling places of humans are square-shaped, and temples are also built in square shapes.